Okay, let's go ahead and get into the stock market technical analysis. We'll look at the broad markets. There's a couple of little individual trade ideas I want to point out, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up. So please drop me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. Helps the channel out. Let's get right into it. Triple Qs. We have, there's not a whole lot going on. We're kind of in a slow week because of the holiday coming up. So it's probably going to be just kind of a grinding week with a bias on a float up. Typically, when you have really low volume, slow holiday weeks, the bias is typically to float higher because you have just inflows of 401k money coming in and just kind of the just the general flow of money coming in. Markets in general go up most of the time, and on low volume especially, and then they go down typically a lot less often, but they go down a lot larger with larger volume. So low holiday week, so it's likely going to be a grind. On the triple Qs, we still have this bearish engulfing candle right here. We also have one right here as well. There's kind of a double bearish engulfing. The resistance is sitting about 486.75, and that's really it. You've just got that 486.75 area. On the daily chart, we have support down here where we're just kind of, it's an uptrend line, and that would be support. So again, I think we're going to drift down to that trend line, and we need to see a break of that in order to initiate kind of a larger sell signal. So until we have that, no breakdown, no reason to be heavily short anyways. The big thing is NVIDIA, because NVIDIA is just the hype stock right now. Here's NVIDIA on the daily. So you can see I've got all these tags of this uptrend line, and we're still holding that support. So we have not broken. We don't have any larger sell signals. So we need to see that break for a larger sell signal. Otherwise, it's holding that support, and it can rally. Tesla's up today. Tesla is spiking up into what looks to be long-term resistance. If I roll out on the daily chart, this is, Tesla's been in a bear market. You can see here that basically you've got resistance, resistance, resistance. There's another reaction, and we're spiking into that. So I think Tesla's likely can go higher, a little higher from here into that large long-term resistance, and that would be an objective short right there at that resistance line. Right now it's up around that 244-ish area, somewhere right in there. So a little more upside in Tesla is likely. It doesn't have to be, but again, it's not objective to short here, it's objective to short just a little higher. So from where we're at now, maybe another 7% or so up. So maybe they'll do that tomorrow. Again, low volume, this one, because it's kind of a retail stock, retail hype stock, it can just pump on low volume right into that major resistance. So that's what I'd be looking at, is that key level to short into, because that would be long-term downtrend line resistance. Google's kind of interesting. I do see a bearish rising wedge forming here, and on the daily chart. You can see the wedge right there. We have negative divergence that just continues to extend for quite a while. We do not have a breakdown or a sell signal, so we're still within that wedge. So I'm just kind of waiting for that one to trigger. It should trigger soon, but we have to wait for it. And really, that's it. That's really there's really not a whole lot else to really point out on these mega cap tech stocks. Let's look at the home builders XHB. This is the home builder ETF. You can see XHB has been on a sell signal for a while. You had this uptrend line here, negative divergence building, and we got that sell signal right there on, that was on May 22nd. And it's been trending lower since. Support was basically right in about this 150 level. You can see that was resistance, and it was support again right through there, and support right through there, and then boom, broke yesterday. That's a definitive sell signal. Nice impulsive red breakdown through support yesterday on the XHB, and we continue lower. So we are trending lower. You will notice we have a high, we have a lower high, we have a lower high, We have a low, we have, there's an equal low, and now we have a lower low. So downtrend in the home builders. And then if I go over to the stock that I've been trading, this individual stock, which is PHM, it just had a pretty clean chart, so that's why I picked it. But again, I had some support right in there, about 109.28, and that broke yesterday as well, gapping down. So next level of support, very clean and clear level. It's about 99.75, $100 right in there. You can see support. There's a gap up right there. There's some support. And again, the 200-day simple moving average is down there too. So support's right down in there, which is another, from where we're at right now, about 3.5% or so down to that support level. More to go, and a bounce of, probably get a bounce there. That's been my profit target on this one the whole time. I think it could go lower, but in general, you definitely should see some buyers stepping in there. So looking to close out my short trade down in that area. Eli Lilly, this one's been on the radar for a while. No real definitive sell signals, but you'll see here a couple levels. On the daily chart, we have a larger trend line down here, several reactions along that trend line. So that's kind of your longer term support, more major support line. And then on the shorter time frame, we had this uptrend line where we had lots of reactions starting to break today. It did gap down, but the buyers are stepping in. You can see it gap down, but they're still holding it up. So I'm really kind of waiting to see how this thing closes the day, whether whether they can push this down and kind of get a break of this trend line, or do the buyers step in and recover it and really hold. You definitely need to see impulsive selling when you break trends to help validate that. So if we don't get that impulsive selling, then there's no sell signal. If we do, and they're able to kind of continue to sell this down, then I think we come down to the more major trend line. All right, and from where we're at, it just depends on where we close the day, but maybe a 5% drop or so down to that trend line. Again, buyers should be there. So that would be the area where you'd want to look to close out that short for that 5% gain and wait for a break of that trend line for a more major sell signal. The momentum, clear negative divergence on the RSI and clear negative divergence there on the PPO. So all this price action here is divergent high. It should get sold into. We're just, again, waiting to see how this day ends up. They're still trying to hold it, so we'll see. This was a trade I pointed out to the private member group, triggering another sell signal today, but this is DPZ, Domino's Pizza, uptrend line, all right, clear uptrend line, negative divergence right here. You can see it basically there, and your break of trend came, they broke trend, but they really held it there. But clear definitive breakdown right in this area and back testing, and then boom, rolling over, hit support 500 yesterday, held that support, and I talked about that in the private member group, how we hit and they bounced, but today gapping down and slicing through that support. So it's another sell signal. That brings us down very likely to the next level, which I have at about 471. Right in there, you can see this reaction low. You also have a reaction high right there, a little gap up candle. So that's the next level of support where this thing's likely heading. And we want to keep an eye on this one, ELF, E-L-F. You can see here, basically we had, going back, you had this clear uptrend line. We broke trend. We then created a kind of a secondary trend here and broke that trend. All right, there. That was your breakdown. Been drifting sideways really ever since, and we are near the highs. All right, there's your highs. That was a bearish engulfing back then, and we basically just tagged that as resistance, and the divergences remain. You can see it's extending the divergences out. So do we go on and make a new high and put in kind of a new divergent high? That's completely possible. They might want to pop this thing up, put in a new high, run a bunch of stops. I'd be, I'm completely open to that. There's another trend line to watch right here. You can see support support, and we're just sitting on it right there. So a break of that trend likely means we're heading back down to some of these lower levels, likely the 200 SMA, and there's good support about 154. So that would be a sell signal if we can break this trend. Otherwise, look for it to pop and make that divergent high, and then likely be a stop clearing move and then roll over. So this one's kind of on a watch. There's no action to be taken yet. We don't have a definitive sell signal, but I'm keeping an eye out on it. That's really all I have, guys. So again, if you're interested in joining up on the private member group, I've been posting in there quite often, almost every day. So check that out. Link in the description below. And I will catch you guys on the next video.